Hello, everyone. My name is Brendan Marr. That noise here is my ventilator. And welcome to Page Turners They Were Not, my Star Wars podcast. Let us continue our catalog of the major Star Wars characters in order of appearance with that overweight glob of grease himself, R2-D2. What can I say about R2-D2? Well, let me begin by saying this. While making Revenge of the Sith, George Lucas remarked to one of his special effects guys that the entire story of Star Wars was being told to a guardian of the Whills, or the Whills, more on that later, by R2-D2 about 100 years after the events of the original trilogy. This has never been codified as canon, but it's an interesting idea that the story of Star Wars is being told by R2. Now, the Whills are mysterious beings who wrote what is called the Journal of the Whills, which was Legends and now it's canon. Not much is known other than a few quotes from it, but they are basically record keepers. And R2-D2 is telling the story of Star Wars to them. If we go with this theory or this statement from Lucas, which, as I said, is not canon, yet that means that maybe R2 has heightened his own sense of importance in the story, which we will discuss in just a moment. R2-D2 first appears chronologically as a droid in the service of Queen Amidala on her royal starship as it escapes from Naboo and attempts to break past the Trade Federation blockade. R2-D2 and several other astromechs are sent out onto the hull of the ship to repair the damaged shield generator. As fate would have it, all the other droids are destroyed except R2-D2, who manages to restore shield power to the starship. Thus, for the first time chronologically, saving our heroes' lives. Of course, he accompanies our heroes to Tatooine, where they meet Anakin Skywalker. And R2 first meets C-3PO and helps Anakin build his pod racer. Later, of course, R2-D2, I should say, helps Anakin fly the borrowed Naboo starfighter during the battle and disables the autopilot so that Anakin can fly it, and yet again saving a hero's life. Twice in one movie, R2-D2 has saved our heroes. Then we come to Attack of the Clones. R2-D2 is in the service of Padme, who is now the Senator, and accompanies her and Anakin as they go to Naboo. And then, of course, to Tatooine. Later, when they travel to Geonosis to save Obi-Wan from the Separatists, R2, using his rockets that we didn't know he had, saves Padme from being covered in molten, basically being roasted to death in the droid factory. And then, of course, he saves C-3PO after C-3PO is put through a series of rather annoying adventures in the droid factory. So yet again, R2-D2 saves our heroes. He saves Padme. And of course, he and C-3PO are witnesses to the marriage of Anakin and Padme. Then in Revenge of the Sith, R2, of course, is serving as Anakin's astromech droid during the Battle of Coruscant, and accompanies them as they enter the hangar of the Separatist flagship to rescue Chancellor Palpatine from Count Dooku. R2 yet again saves the day when he takes out a couple of battle droids and helps our heroes get to the tower where the Chancellor is being held. They rescue the Chancellor, but are captured by General Grievous after, of course, the sneaky death of Dooku. I say sneaky because Palpatine betrayed him. Or did what Sith do. Then, of course, when they're captured and are on the bridge of the Separatist flagship, R2 goes, as according to plan, basically goes haywire and has his little taser device shoot in every direction, thus distracting the villains long enough for Obi-Wan and Anakin to retrieve their lightsabers and defeat Grievous, basically, but he escapes. And then, of course, the ship breaks apart, and Anakin has to land it. A rather crazy moment, but yet again, R2 saves our heroes. And then R2, of course, comes into the service of Bail Organa after Padme's death, which is terribly unfortunate. Then, of course, we jump ahead to A New Hope, where R2-D2 is first seen in terms of the movies in 1977. He is with C-3PO. He is given the plans to the Death Star, and they escape in the escape pod, meet Luke, and they go off on their adventure to save the princess. While on the Death Star, when our heroes are stuck in the garbage compactor, R2-D2, of course, saves them, yet again saving our heroes. And because he has the Death Star plans, in him, basically saves the galaxy. Then we come to The Empire Strikes Back, of course, where he accompanies Luke to Dagobah, where they meet Yoda, and which is funny because R2 knows Yoda. It kind of makes you wonder if their silly double act was pre-planned to basically test Luke's patience. And then R2 helps, when they go to Cloud City, helps our heroes escape by not only spraying out mist that stops the stormtroopers from being able to fire very accurately, but he also repairs the shutdown hyperdrive on the Millennium Falcon, allowing them to escape yet again, saving our heroes. And then, of course, we come to Return of the Jedi, where R2, as part of Luke's plan as Luke's lightsaber within it. When Luke is about to be executed, R2 shoots the lightsaber out of its chamber, and Luke catches it and wins the day. Yet again, saving our heroes. And then, of course, R2 helps out with when they go to Endor, though he's not as successful getting the shield bunker doors opened. And, of course, gets blasted and goes haywire. So, and then, of course, we come many, many, many years later to The Force Awakens. R2-D2 has been in low power mode and is basically shut down since Luke went away. However, after the end battle on the Starkiller base, he comes back to life, more or less, and displays his galactic map, and together with the piece of the map that BB-8 was carrying, are able to pinpoint the location of Luke, yet again saving the galaxy. Or at least, not exactly saving our heroes or the galaxy, but leading to that. Because then we jump to The Last Jedi. R2 has accompanied Rey and Chewbacca to Octo, where Luke is. R2-D2 is able to lead them to Luke because of the map, but also by playing the hologram that Leia sent to Obi-Wan, is able to convince Luke to train Rey. This allows Luke to see that he was wrong and to have a bit of healing, as Rey teaches him about why he's wrong about the Jedi needing to end. Luke, of course, learns his lesson from Yoda during the burning tree sequence. And then, because of this, because R2 is able to convince Luke to get involved, Luke force projects himself to Crate and saves the day by allowing the Resistance to escape. R2-D2 in every single movie saves the day. So I do think it's an interesting theory, and I think it's highly possible that he is the storyteller and he is exaggerating his role in the story. How do I feel about R2-D2? I like R2-D2 a lot. I like how spunky he is. I like how adventurous and just willing to go for it. He makes it great. Contrast to the prissy and uptight C-3PO. They are a great double act, like Laurel and Hardy or Abbott and Costello, or even the two peasants in the Hidden Fortress. They're a great double act. R2 has some interesting installments. It seems that he doesn't have rockets anymore in the original trilogy. I thought that was an interesting addition, but, you know, whatever. If you go with the theory that R2 is exaggerating the story, then it all makes sense. The galaxy would not have been saved without him. And the idea of using him as kind of the catalyst for the story in Star Wars was a brilliant idea on George Lucas's part. R2-D2 is a great addition to Star Wars, a great character, and even though he doesn't say a single word that we can understand, has so much personality, and is one of the most beloved characters of the galaxy far, far away. So those are my thoughts on R2-D2. Thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Brendan Marr, and that noise you hear is my ventilator. And thank you for listening to Page Turners They Were Not, my Star Wars podcast. May the Force be with you.